welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. I'll be your astrologer today. Happy Thursday. I hope your guys' week is going well. I am here to bring you guys some good news. I think we could use some good news. So we're going to be talking about this up and coming transit taking place this weekend. The transit Venus in the sign of Libra, making a very fortunate trine to Jupiter in Gemini. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what your plans are this weekend and how you're going to be making the most of this aspect. But I am very excited about this because it's going to be a pretty sweet one. So I'm going to give you guys some insights on how to work with this energy. You're going to have this actually kind of building over the next couple of days. The conjunction is going to be taking place either on September 14th or 15th, depending on what time zone you're in. But all you need to know is that pretty much Saturday night and Sunday are extra, extra sweet. So let's kind of get into it. Obviously, I know we have people in different time zones, and this is a couple days early, but I'm giving you guys this insight so that way you can do something really beneficial with what the astrology is going to be setting up for us. So somewhere around, I'm on Central Time, so somewhere around like 10:30 p.m. Pacific Time on September 14th, so that'll be Saturday night, or it will be around 12:30 a.m. the 15th if you're on Central Time, or 1:30 in the middle of the evening on the 15th of September if you're on the East Coast. So obviously adjust your time zones, but it's going to be hanging around all weekend. I'm going to incorporate a little bit of election astrology for you guys today, and I'm going to talk about some ways that you can work with this. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. We're going to see an exact trine between Venus and Jupiter. But the transit moon is also going to be involved in this as well. So we're actually going to see a really, really sweet grand air trine that's going to be taking place, kind of building into this Sunday in the morning. Now, even though it's going to be taking place kind of in some places in the middle of the night, you can still work with it. It's still going to be beneficial. I think you guys are going to really start feeling this energy as early as about Friday. So anywhere from about the 13th through the 16th of September is what we're working with, because I work with like a couple degree orbs. Now we're going to talk about what the trine between Venus and Jupiter means, but I just want to give you guys a couple like little tidbits here. So I was looking at this trine, and I think it's significant for a couple of different reasons. One is it's seeding what has happened since we saw Venus and Jupiter come into conjunction. So if you guys think back a couple months ago, we saw the Venus-Jupiter conjunction happen in Taurus. So it did not happen in an air sign. So you're going to have to think about what was happening in the spring and what was seeded in the Taurus area of your life. We know that the Venus-Jupiter conjunction was extra sweet, extra indulgent because, well, it happened with Venus in its domicile, and obviously Jupiter was also extra, extra sweet in Taurus. So it is kind of promising the potential for lots of expansion when it comes to love, money, relationships, values, potentially even really good news for relationships. So this is when we start to see some of that stuff flow. Also, in the fall of 2023, we saw a solar eclipse. So it was in mid-October of 2023. This was a solar eclipse in Libra, and that actually took place at 21 degrees of Libra. So when we see planets, especially the ruler of that particular eclipse, come back into this particular spot, it may have some reflections of some of the intentions that were seeded, especially in regards to relationships in the fall of 2023. Now, back then when we had the eclipse, we actually saw Venus was debilitated in Virgo, and it opposed Saturn. So it was not really setting up for lots of positive things in relationships. We actually saw that there was limitations, right? Saturn, separations with Venus in opposition to Saturn, lots of changes with job loss and health, and just challenges overall with Venus in its fall in opposition to Saturn. So this is a really great aspect, and I think we might actually see the tide turn a little bit here briefly just before the eclipse. So let me show this to you guys rather than just kind of like telling you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So It's not unusual to see Venus and Jupiter trine. It happens, you know, twice a year. And when the conjunction was seated, looks like this was taking place back in, it was right in the final moments of Jupiter and Taurus. Here we go. So it looks like it was happening right around May 23rd, 2024. So extra sweet, obviously, for Venus-ruled charts. So if you're a Taurus rising or if you're a Libra rising, you're really going to like this energy. Same thing also for, I would say, Geminis and Gemini risings, because Jupiter is in your sign. And Aquarius, I think you're going to like this as well. But yeah, think back to what was happening around the 23rd or the 24th of March when this conjunction took place. You want to look at which house Taurus is in. Obviously, this happened at an anaretic degree, so it's a critical degree at 29. So it does represent critical turning points with finances, resources, personal investments maybe. And also, I think that this was just when we were seeing maybe some things really starting to build in terms of some of the financial systems. Obviously, increased prices, increased food, yeah, that kind of stuff too. But we set intentions back then, and now we're going to see through the trine from Gemini to Libra that there is going to be something that is going to start to kind of bloom, something that's going to kind of open up. So we will see another trine, you know, down the road when we get Venus inevitably to Aquarius, but that's going to be a little bit ways away. And then if I show you guys the eclipse, here we go. So the eclipse that we had in the fall, I'm looking at this one. So this was October 14th, 2023. We had a solar eclipse in Libra where we were planting new seeds about relationships. There was a conjunction to the South Node. So there was this sense of like, do we stay or do we go? You know, or lots of karmic relationship things happening, changes with clients, changes with partnerships, allies, even therapists, that kind of stuff. And this is that Venus-Saturn opposition that I was talking about. So not only did we have a South Node conjunction, which does represent clearing, but we have the ruler in a really tricky angle with Saturn, which does represent some kind of limitation or perhaps even a setback. If you guys remember the eclipses that were happening in 2023, the Aries eclipse squared Pluto, right, in the spring, the 29-degree Aries eclipse. Then we have this eclipse, which by about 6 degrees also was squaring Pluto. So there was lots of power struggles, challenges, major changes in our careers, potentially even our reputation that was kind of on the line. So we may see some reactivations because we're going to see Venus kind of coming into this conjunction. You may have actually seen it even around the full moon that we had in Aries this spring, the lunar eclipse that we had in Aries in 2024. Anyway. So this is looking like a much better aspect. So let's now bring it back to like the 14th and the 15th of September 2024. And you're going to see Venus in its domicile. So Venus is playing with home field advantage. She's in the sign of partnerships, romantic love, harmony, diplomacy. And she will trine Jupiter and Gemini, right? And then we're going to see also kind of more going into the 15th, the moon will be in Aquarius, which will trine Venus as well as Jupiter. And that's going to create that grand air trine. So I'm really excited to see what this brings. I've read to you guys the 21-degree Sabian symbol quite a few times for Gemini. You guys know that that's the labor demonstration. But I wanted to read to you guys the 21 degrees of Libra because that is where Venus is going to be making her trine. Also, you know, Venus is the ruler of the South Node. So whenever we see any harmony kind of going on with the South Node ruler with other planets, there is actively clearing. We could also be reflecting on the past. We could be reminiscing about the past. We could be hearing from people from the past. And there can be lots of karmic things happening in relationships. But I actually like this Sabian symbol. This is for 21 degrees of Libra. All right, so 21 degrees, a crowd upon the beach. The theme is going with the flow. The symbol speaks to relaxation, enjoyment, and going with the mood of the moment. The image of a crowd upon the beach alludes to reaction and fellowship, recreation and fellowship. The rhythmic ebb and flow of the ocean symbolizes naturalness, spontaneity, and the release of tension. The suggestion here is on social interchange, and it creates opportunities to discover and express new facets of the self. At its highest, it represents positive and friendly outlook on life, the ability to go with the flow of things. Watch for being self-centered or feelings of entitlement and refusal to give of self. The accent is on letting your hair down and releasing your inhibitions. It might be difficult to keep your mind on your work today. Your greatest advantage lies in being friendly, sociable, and relaxing the rules to enjoy the results. Guard against over-regimenting your life or trying to control everything and everyone around you. Don't expect others to open up to you if you're not willing to share yourself with them. Watch for lack of inhibition, lightheartedness, relaxation, enjoyment, recreation, naturalness, spontaneity, going with the flow, and friendliness. Okay, so that's going to play into some of the effects of Venus in Libra. Now, when we see this particular trine happen, it's going to be trining at 20 degrees. And 20 degrees is the degree that in degree astrology, it deals with Scorpio. So it can represent we're changing the way that we relate to other people. We're changing, what we value or what tastes we like, what styles we like, what food, what friendships or relationships we're participating in. And it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new. So it is, encouraging us to make change because change can be good. And it doesn't mean that we have to change our relationships. It might mean that we change the type of social activities we're doing, or we're up for a change. It might mean that we're up for a style change. And it's also going to be changing the way that we think and communicate when it comes to our relationship to other people or things, especially because this air trine is all about intellect, communication, ideas, and it can be a little bit more detached because it's the element of air. Now, I wanted to read to you guys the planets in transit to see what Robert Hand has to say about this particular trine, and it was, I thought, right on the money. So when Venus trines Jupiter, he says, classically, this is one of the best transits, except it has a rather short duration. It brings grace, ease, pleasant social interaction in your life. Like any Venus-Jupiter energy, it also can bring laziness, self-indulgence, but only if you're likely to be that way anyway. For most people, this transit will be a pleasant respite from the daily grind. You feel content with this transit, and your commitment and your contentment affects others favorably, so that everyone around you will be in good spirits. This is an excellent transit for any social occasion, amusements, or entertainment. You may meet somebody who will be of great service to you later. There may be a romantic interest in the course of the day as well, although like other Venus transits, this one is usually not strong enough by itself to bring a major relationship. The influence often benefits financial investments. It may be a good day to make a major investment, particularly in entertainment, leisure, or the arts. It's also a good day to begin a vacation trip. The influence of the transit will ensure that your trip will be rewarding, enlightening, and fun. It's generally a good time to reap the rewards of past activities. It's not a good time to start new enterprises that require a lot of energy because the energy may not be here, and you may find it difficult to take the enterprise seriously. However, if other planetary influences are giving you energy, the transit will certainly provide favorable influence. You may be inclined to sit around and do nothing rather than get involved in any daring enterprise. Okay? So obviously, Venus can be about indulgence, and it can be about pleasure, and it can be about what feels good, tastes good, smells good. And Jupiter can magnify that. So there can be a sense of sometimes overdoing it. But I think it's actually going to be a really wonderful transit. I'm kind of looking at this, and I've made like a kind of bullet point list of what I'm expecting. And I guess the general Venus trine Jupiter is going to be about expansion of love and pleasure. So you're going to want to look at the Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius houses. And if you guys stay tuned, I'll take you to the end of the video, and then I'll go through the 12 signs and kind of tell you guys what I think could happen. I also talk about this in my horoscopes for September. but expansion of love and pleasure, because Venus rules these things, and Jupiter brings expansion, growth, luck, and abundance. So when they're in this harmonious trine with each other, they're able to promote more of that. And then the moon going through Aquarius trining this is also kind of bringing that up Saturday into Sunday. So when they form this trine, you know, there's more opportunities for love, for romance, for relationships. We feel that we're enjoying, you know, the time and the atmosphere, kind of the people that we're with more. People can be more generous with this transit. They can be more optimistic, and obviously a little bit more open-hearted when it comes to their emotions and their feelings as well. But I do think it is an omen for good fortune in relationships. And quite literally, it can be really good for like clearing the air. So this aspect can bring good luck in relationships, both romantic and social. You know, you may attract more attractive or positive people into your life. People who are expansive and they want to have fun and they want to kind of go places and do things. And new relationships that are being formed under this transit often comes with a sense of ease, and existing ones can see significant improvements in growth as well, especially if you have an air sign, you know, within your 5th or your 7th house. You're most likely going to see that kind of manifest. But it's not just about romantic love. You know, we are seeing the moon go through Aquarius, which is highlighting our social connections, networks, our friends even. So I definitely think this is going to provide kind of an opportunity for social harmony and networking. So networking, be that in person, a mixer, online, maybe it's about kind of putting your resume up online, maybe it's about joining a professional affiliation or group. These interactions should be pleasurable. You should enjoy it. You won't feel like you're like dragging yourself to go and do something. And even if something is not taking place this day, this can be a good day to start something like that, or to join or apply to a network and kind of throw your hat into the ring, because you can see the results come at a later date if you initiate that during this particular transit. So definitely increased ability to attract beneficial alliances is kind of how I see this with Venus and Jupiter. And it could be, you know, particularly positive for networking. So things like business partnerships or any endeavor that requires social skills and charm, where you're trying to kind of entice an audience. This is definitely the transit for that. Looking forward to the increased kind of optimism and joy, even if it's just brief right before we have this eclipse that's coming in. I think, you know, Jupiter's influence definitely adds a layer of optimism and joy to Venus's kind of lovey-dovey feelings. So people will feel more inclined to celebrate, right? To socialize, to travel, to engage in activities that kind of broaden their horizons because of Jupiter's influence. And it all has like a sense of pleasure and beauty tied to that. Definitely other themes that come up for me are like, you know, more topics on, philosophy, or, your beliefs revolving around relationships, spiritual love affairs and connections, long distance romance, people who might be also from like different cultures or different backgrounds, that can be coming up as well. Because Jupiter, it deals with philosophy, higher education, spirituality, but culture. So the trine might inspire deeper, more philosophical approach to love and relationships with other people. And, where individuals seek not just physical or emotional connection, but also a spiritual or an intellectual bond. So, finding your tribe, right? Or like making a new friend out, in the wild. And then you're like, wow, we have so much in common, and getting really excited about all the common like interests you might have can definitely happen with this transit. I like the themes of generosity with Jupiter and Venus. I think that there's definitely increased generosity under this transit, not just financially, but also in terms of like time, affection, kindness. There can be a sense of people really going the distance, making the effort, being more considerate, being a little bit more forthcoming, and being willing to say, you know what, this is how I feel, or I really appreciate you, or here, I got you something, I was thinking of you. Like, you see more of that happen under this transit, which obviously is amazing because it can really lead to strengthening bonds with other people through acts of goodwill. Just watch for the potential to overdo it, okay? We can't overdo it when Venus and Jupiter are in aspect to each other. while this is generally pretty positive, do be mindful that there can be a tendency to overindulge. Because of the combination of Venus's love for pleasure and Jupiter's tendency to want to do things excessively, it leads to extravagance. So, whether that's spending or eating or, seeking pleasure or even shopping, we have a tendency to kind of go a little ham with some of the trines. So this would be like a transit where you're like, oh my gosh, we spent how much, at the bar or going out to dinner, or the concert was great, but the tickets were so expensive. Like that kind of stuff is what you might potentially see. But sometimes people throw all caution out the window, and they're like, what, I don't care. It was worth the experience. It was worth the price of admission, or the willingness maybe to indulge a little bit more to really enrich relationships that we have with other people and go the extra mile. Now, what I want you guys to watch for in this particular combination, because we've got Venus and Jupiter and Gemini and Libra, when we look at those two signs working in harmony, this basically says that, with Venus trine Jupiter, it's a period where relationships can flourish, right? But they're flourishing through Gemini things. So intellectual connection, communication, a sense of expansion with one another. And that might be things like going on a walk together, reading together, going on a, overnight or on a road trip, together, driving around town, running errands together. It sounds silly, but this is going to bring that opportunity to kind of connect more deeply in a romantic sense through the conversations and kind of the back and forth that we're having with others, because it's meant to be more intellectually engaging. Yes, it is definitely a window where there is increased potential for meeting new people through social or educational settings. So where ideas and communication play a central role in getting to know someone. So you're going to see people that are going to be feeling a little bit more, I think, bold and optimistic and willing to walk up to you in public and talk to you, or people may feel a little bit more inclined to want to strike up a conversation with somebody that they just met. And this could be anywhere. It really depends on where it's happening in your chart. But I will tell you that if you're feeling curious, or if you see somebody that you're interested in, like, it is encouraging you to think of a thought-provoking kind of question or a way to be able to kind of like break the ice and start, interacting with somebody. And it may be like a really great opportunity to just kind of, get in there and get them kind of pulled or like hooked into the conversation. Now, with the moon being in Aquarius during this transit, it does have an element of friendship and, kind of like invitations being given to friends, or people inviting you to go and meet other people or join groups and kind of connect and collaborate. So it's not just about romance. We can deepen our relationship to our friends as well. And existing relationships, I think, also can take on a much more kind of progressive, futuristic kind of thinking about where we're going, what are we doing, being optimistic about the future of relationships. That can definitely happen with this aspect as well. But in terms of money and finances, this is also positive, because the trine between Venus and Jupiter, it brings opportunities for financial growth. But that growth comes through partnership, right? Collaboration, diplomacy, communication, networking, sending that email, making that phone call, reaching out to people. And Venus in Libra is going to be inspiring more people in the areas of art, beauty, and luxury. So this could be a lot of like, if you're in that industry, checking in on clients, going back and forth, trying to negotiate deals, offering a support or assistance in transactions or purchases, or even styling can be a big theme here. And, Jupiter and Gemini can turn some of these relationships or some of these offers that you have into something that could be very profitable. So that could be through teaching, through writing, through media. So if you're like a YouTuber, if you are an influencer, if you're a beauty junkie or somebody who gives style tips or anything like that, oh my gosh, this is the weekend to be posting that stuff and putting it out there and sharing it with the audience so people can see what you're doing. And people may want to buy what you're recommending. They may potentially want to work with you if you offer services as well. And when you throw that moon in Aquarius into the mix, it's really suggesting that ideas and networking and communication lead to financial gains. And I see Aquarius as the internet. So we could see, that this might be a really good week or weekend to be launching a campaign, especially if you're getting ready to put, seasonal products out, or maybe you're wanting to make a big announcement. I could definitely see this being beneficial for those involved in technology, media, or networking groups as well. So it doesn't have to be limited to just money or aesthetics. If you're in any of those areas, this could also be a time where you could see some major growth. Now for friendships, obviously a huge theme with, the moon going through Aquarius. Generally, this is a more social time. We are going to see social connections being highlighted. So that air element is putting an emphasis on, friendships being formed through deep connection and also shared ideas and discussions and collaborative projects. So with the moon going through there, it could be more about like humanitarian interests, making it a very fertile time for forming friendships that are based off of shared ideas and social causes. So if you're wanting to have a group meeting, if you're wanting to put the word out that you're wanting to launch a group, or maybe you're trying to kind of bring in new people to kind of do like a meet and greet or anything like that, wonderful time for that. Mixers, any social events, that kind of stuff is really wonderful. But just expect generally that there is this theme of intellectual expansion because Jupiter is in a mercurial sign. We see a grand air trine, so it's going to be a lot about information and talking about our feelings, telling people, what we're hoping to get out of relationship, what we're looking for, and sharing some of what's on our mind. Now, if you're wanting to focus on things like learning, teaching, or communication, this is a great time to initiate and start that. Things like starting courses, writing projects, or engaging in public speaking can be wonderful under this weekend's transit. But also, I love this for just creating more social ease and networking. I feel like this is going to make people, like the Sabian Symbols said, kind of go with the flow a little bit better. Interactions are smoother, they're not awkward, and it's really creating a sense of ease in forming new connections, meeting new people. So it could be beneficial for people also who are like in sales, marketing, or a profession where you're having to do some kind of networking. And I love the creative aspect of Venus trine Jupiter. This air influence is really creating a lot of inspiration, especially for creative solutions to problems, innovative thinking, artistic expressions. Anything that is more conceptual or intellectual is going to be favored under these transits. I do foresee positive outcomes in relationship situations. Granted, I know that we are coming into an eclipse, and this energy is so dynamic and it's so polar opposite to this incoming eclipse in Pisces, which is a full moon lunar eclipse, very emotional, very private, and it's going to be kind of stuck between Saturn and Neptune. To me, this feels like the last real weekend of summer. It feels like, everybody's getting out there, they're barbecuing, they're going out, they're meeting people, they're enjoying things right before the season turns. And you guys are going to feel that vibe shift pretty significantly once we get to the eclipse on the 17th. But for love and relationships, I really feel like those of you guys who are single, get out there and mingle. This could be a period of growth where, you're meeting people that it feels like destiny is involved, really great connections through shared interests, and really amazing kind of banter and back and forth. And like I said, new relationships that start under these transits can create a really strong foundation. There can be a lot of romance, a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, but also there could be a really amazing foundation that's like a friendship before it develops into a relationship. Watch for opportunities for financial gains, okay? So this can be that, things are kind of turning a little bit maybe, especially with the markets come Monday. Could positively influence the crypto markets, as well as Venus is the dispositor of Uranus, and we're seeing some trines that are starting to come in from the sun in Virgo. But generally, whether it's gains through intellectual property, maybe it could be social media, maybe you have something go viral and then all of a sudden you're getting monetized. There's definitely an opportunity with this trine to turn your hobbies and interests into something that could be a very profitable venture. And it just might happen, with ease under the transits because you're just participating in something that you love. And yeah, you know, existing friendships may evolve. There can be reconnections with people you haven't seen for a while, deeper connections in existing friendships, and new people who come into your life that share your same vision for the future or similar social ideals. Now, like I said, this is going to be kind of in the works Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I work with about a 3-degree orb, but for the most part, Saturday night into Sunday morning is when this is going to be happening. So something that this is something I do as like as a service on my website. I provide election dates for my clients. Maybe you guys have seen like the astrology podcast where they have one, I guess, like segment that they do that's like a subscription where you can pay and they give you all the best elections for the month. This is where astrologers take the transits at that month and they go and they select the days and the times where they see really beautiful configurations between the planets, where planets are going to be in really strong positions or angles that can be more so beneficial for different types of events. So clients will come to me and say, hey, I want to get married. When is the best time to do that? And I'll look at the 2 charts of them and their partner, I'll look at the composite, and then we kind of make a whole list of dates and kind of pick all the way down to like the minute where they could exchange vows and the location, and we can create basically a wedding chart. But I also do this for book launches. You know, I do this for people when they are wanting to, you know, change jobs, or maybe when they're wanting to launch a product, or when they want to relocate. So election astrology is so specific and it's really helpful. And so I wanted to kind of include that in today's video and show you guys how that can kind of work. And I'm going to give you some really great election ideas for this weekend and when to use them. So to do this, I actually went ahead and kind of like looked at when we start to see the trines and the conjunctions. So like I said, Saturday night. So this is going to be taking place on, let's see, what day is Saturday? On the 14th. So this is, once again, depending on your time zone, okay? I'm central, so some of you guys may have to kind of adjust your time zone accordingly. But what I did note here is Saturday night around 10 p.m. Pacific time, which is midnight Central Time or 1 a.m. Eastern Time. I know it's late, but I really like Saturday night for a house party. I feel like we need to bring house parties back. I think if we brought house parties back, the world would get a little bit more normal again, and maybe we would meet people out in the wild. I don't know. So let's look at this particular time for that. So we're going to see that's when the trine is actually going to be taking place. The moon isn't going to pick it up yet. So we've got 23, where is it? There we go. So I guess it's probably closer to about 12:23 a.m. Central Time. So that's going to be 10:23 p.m. on the 14th of September on the West Coast, 12:23 a.m. Central Time, and that's going to be 1:23 a.m. in New York. I know we've got people all over, but you might have to adjust your time because it might be daytime in other parts of the world, and it's going to be easier for you to use. So this is right when Venus starts making the trine to Jupiter. And once again, you don't have to wait until this time, okay? You're probably feeling it on Friday night, or you're going to be feeling it all day on Saturday, but this is when it's going to be exact. And one thing that I was looking at is the actual chart. So if you look down here, when this happens, it's going to put Jupiter on the ascendant, okay? So Jupiter will be on the ascendant. So we're going to be feeling, you know, we're drinking wine, we're hanging out, we're having a good time, right? We're socializing, we're talking, and it's going to form 5 houses away a trine to Venus. So this is good for being bold, being chatty, you know, traveling, connecting, teaching people something, and being confident. So if you don't have plans yet on Friday night, I really recommend go to a house party, go to a family gathering, have a celebration at home. When I look at this, technically in the whole sign, Venus is in the 5th. So could you go out to a bar and meet somebody? Sure, you could do that. But technically the Venus transit will fall in the 4th house, which means that most of the pleasure is actually going to be found at home. It could be a time where you just have a bunch of friends and family over and everybody's hanging out and, you know, eating and playing games and having a good time. Or maybe there's a block party going on, or maybe you want to barbecue and invite your neighbors over, whatever. Some of the sweetest stuff is going to hit later at night, I guess is what I'm getting at. So particularly around that time period, that 10:30, kind of 12:30, 1:30 period of time. So if you're a night owl, I think you guys might like it. That's what I would do on Saturday night. Be adventurous. Go out there and do things. Go accept invitations to places you wouldn't typically go. Go and meet friends of friends. Let friends set you up with people. That's something else that can happen. We can see a lot of matchmaking that's kind of going on here as well. Now, when we take this into the next day, where Venus is still in a trine, granted it's not exact, but she's still in a trine. She's still at 20 degrees. We're starting to now pick up the moon trine Venus. Okay, so you're going to see this pretty much all morning on Sunday, the 15th into the afternoon, which is why Sunday is still a very good day. And I'm looking at that 6 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday, 8 a.m. Central time on Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Now, I know for some of you guys this is early, but when we see the trine happen, the ascendant is actually going to be in Libra. So this is right when the moon is going to come into a trine at 20 degrees with Jupiter and with Venus, okay? Right here. And we'll see the ascendant that will go from like Libra into Scorpio. So it's going to be right around that time. So what did I put for this? Well, if you're doing it around this time, it's going to give you a Libra rising chart, which is going to put the emphasis on relationships, harmony, beauty, togetherness. So this could be a really great morning, I think, with, you know, Venus technically in the first house. It's going to be trining Jupiter in the 9th house, and the moon is going through the 5th house. Well, you could plan a trip. Planning a trip on Sunday morning would be good if you know that you have to buy airfare, or if you have to travel somewhere. Maybe you want to start booking Airbnbs for something. If you have to be reserving hotels or accommodation, this is a good time to do that, especially with the Jupiter in the 9th house and the moon in the 5th. If you're wanting to plan a vacation with you and a romantic partner, maybe with friends, or even with your kids, that can be something you can do. But I like this for beauty and aesthetics. Like, I look at this and I'm like, this transit makes me like want to get up in the morning and like make pancakes and have brunch and mimosas and like do face masks. Like that's my interpretation of it, but personally, but beauty and aesthetics. So if you're like, you know what, I want to get up in the morning, I'm going to go and, you know, get mani-pedis with my daughters, or I'm going to go and get brunch with my friends and we're going to get facials or massages, right? This would be a really fun thing to do on Sunday morning. You could also be painting nails. You could be, you know, anything that's kind of be beauty oriented, or doing some shopping or some like change to your style is also really beneficial. So go shopping with other people. Take some of your friends, and you guys can all look at stuff and give each other kind of feedback on what you're buying, and you guys might have a really good time. You can also start a course or a workshop. That's something else that would be great with the trines to Jupiter, which can be about education and learning. And if you're like, you know what, I really want to take a paint class, or I really want to take a pottery class, or, you know, I want to do a study at your own kind of pace, digital video format from home, you know, you can start courses on Sunday. You can sign up for courses on Sunday. You can go and do a drop-in to a local course and work with somebody, especially if it's like art, design, anything revolving around music. Group courses would be wonderful here as well. And I really like the idea of being able to just be around other people. So whether you go with a friend or you go with like a significant other, it can be something fun that you can do on Sunday. Writing something meaningful. Okay, so this can be a thank you letter, a love note. This can be sitting down and creating content, or a content schedule or outline for content if you're a content creator for the next month. Something really beautiful and really touching that is going to get a lot of attention. So this can be for writing it or for posting it on Sunday morning. But I like it for brunch, like indulging. Like, I love like a really great brunch with friends, and you know, whether that's just like making a bunch of brunch charcuterie boards and hanging out with your kids and everybody, you know, having morning together where you guys are indulging and having fun. or if you want to go somewhere and if you want to do that with other people, I think that the indulgence aspects of Venus trine Jupiter can definitely be about maybe spending a little bit more money than you typically would on breakfast, but doing that in an environment where there's other people and you guys can kind of, laugh and have fun, because Jupiter is definitely pretty jolly. Now, for those of you guys who are single, and I know it's like Sunday, and for me, Sunday is like a very spiritual day because, well, football has started again, so I'm very excited for football to be back. Yeah, so if you're if you're a footballer, you can go and start watching sports on Sunday and you might meet somebody. The other option is, if you know that you're in a sports household and you've got people who are watching stuff, you can be inviting friends and like their spouses over to watch football, and like you can make a spread, and like you'll probably get a little bit more affection from your partner than usual for providing and entertaining with some of these transits and like joining in on the fun, because that's what the moon in Aquarius is all about. But if you were to go out to a bar, maybe you do go out and do brunch with a bunch of single friends, you could totally meet somebody under these transits, especially because we're going to see the moon in the early morning hours go through the 5th house of Aquarius. So that's casinos, theaters, places where there's sports, bars, clubs, which I know it's Sunday morning and you're like, Candace, I'm not an alcoholic. But if you're somebody who wants to try to meet people, you're going to have to go somewhere where there's some socializing and maybe some events and other things that are going on, and kind of indulge and enjoy yourself, but you might meet somebody. So it's definitely some good election astrology for that. The best window is going to be in the early AM, and it's going to go until roughly, I would say, maybe about 12. And then you're going to see this again take place from just after like 12:30 until about 3 p.m. Granted, I'm Central Time, so you might have to kind of look. But first half of the morning, so you're going to have that chunk the first couple of hours. Like I said, my Central Time, 8 a.m. to about maybe 11. And then you'll see it start up again 12 until maybe about 3 Central Time. And this period is also really good for money and business. Okay, so whether you're planning on making investments, if you're needing to do transfers, I know it's Sunday, but if you're big in the crypto markets, if there's some stuff going on, like there can be some really fortuitous things going on, and also news. This is an air trine, so there could be some news coming out that could definitely have people a little bit more optimistic about what's coming up in the markets on Monday. So that and business. Attracting clients. So if you have a business and you're like, when do we put out our newsletter? Sunday morning. When do we start a new campaign? Sunday morning. People are going to be more inclined to be like, oh, look at this company. Look at what they're selling. Look at what they're doing. And then they send it to their friends with that trine to Aquarius. And you're going to get a lot more traction. You're going to get a lot more people who are also probably going to be in a better mood and they're feeling like a little bit more abundant than usual, who would be willing to kind of expend on some indulgent purchases. So great for attracting clients, sending out campaigns, sending out newsletters. If you're somebody who's wanting to say, I want to start a newsletter, or, I'm going to start putting it together, or I'm committing to creating a newsletter schedule, or maybe you need to kind of create one for like the next month or so. You don't have to launch it. You can start working on it now. With election astrology, the moment you start doing something, that's the election. So you can reap the benefits of working on, creating a newsletter, changing your style, getting an online app, and trying to meet somebody. That's another one. On Sunday morning, and then you will start to see the events unfold potentially, when you're either coming to some of the oppositions, which will be later in the year, or when you're coming into the trines, and that's going to be happening closer to the end of the year as well when it goes into Aquarius. I'm not sure if that's going to be 2024 or 2025. I need to look. Let's look at that right now. Let's just see. So you have the trine taking place now, and then it's not going to trine again until it gets to Aquarius. The opposition can be hit or miss, but it looks like when Venus goes into Aquarius and it's in a trine with Jupiter will be retrograde. Okay, Jupiter's direct right now, and you still may see something sweet come from this. I mean, it will be at a Taurus degree, so it looks like it's going to be around like the 18th, 19th, 20th of December 2024. That'll be the next trine, but I'm not crazy about the moon in opposition. And I'm also not crazy about the fact that, then it starts coming into a square with Uranus and Jupiter's retrograde. So we might get a little snaked actually on the second trine. So my money's on this one. I like the one that we're having now a little bit better. You know, when you're working with the planets, this is something I've been talking to you guys about a little bit more in recent videos, but I talk a lot about like invocations of the planets, you know, developing a relationship with the planets, being able to kind of see the planets' archetypes in your everyday life. And sometimes it's about, you know, lighting a candle or doing a little ritual or doing a meditation, you know, on that planetary day. It can be something that simple. So some things that I would recommend for you guys to enhance bringing in more attraction, love, money, maybe, you know, hoping, you know, Venus and Jupiter are going to kind of bless you with some of their cosmic goodies, would be working with the element of air. So bells, incense, right? Writing down your intentions, invocations, speaking to Venus, speaking to Jupiter. Granted, this is going to be happening on Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to happen on Saturn's day and then the Sunday. But Sunday is fun day, right? So maybe I would do more of this, you know, especially around the early morning on Sunday. I think that's when you're going to get some of your best results. But yeah, bells, incense, invocations, anything that's air related for Venus or Jupiter. Now, Venus, I mean, obviously we know, women know Venus because, well, that's kind of the planet that's associated with women, but what do women like generally? I'm just generalizing here. You know, flowers, right? So it could be something as, you know, bringing in some fresh flowers into your home and putting it, you know, on your dinner table or gifting flowers to a loved one. It can be about sweets and indulgences and desserts. So, you know, Venus appreciates sweets. So offerings like maybe having some honey, you know, on your granola on Sunday, putting out some fresh fruit, things like mangoes, strawberries, pastries, anything like that is like very Venusian. So you can put out some sweet stuff. Venus likes perfume and she also likes incense. So you can kind of kill two birds with one stone on that one. If you want to put out some high quality incense, like sandalwood, rose, or jasmine, that would be wonderful to kind of set the stage for that. Rose water is really good too if you want to use that on Sunday. And Venus loves jewelry and anything that's luxury. So maybe save some of your purchases for Sunday if it's something that you know that you've been wanting for some time. She likes items like gold, silver, precious stones, you know, any symbolic offerings for Venus. It could be something as putting out a really, you know, beautiful, fresh cut flowers or wearing a really nice, you know, kind of high quality material dress in honor of Venus, dressing up, right? Looking good on Sunday. And you can put out perfume or even like a really special piece of jewelry for her on like an altar space. She generally likes that. Music, dance, right? So you can be doing that if you guys are having parties or get-togethers or gatherings. You know, if you know you're having people over and you're entertaining, you know, bust out your vinyl, put on a really great mix that you have. Make sure that you're paying attention to the environment, creating that ambiance. And, you know, if you know that you need to buy some beauty products, some art supplies, if you're wanting to buy some art, things like that, you can be doing this weekend. You can get some higher quality stuff. And I really feel like you can't go wrong by putting out wine or champagne for Venus. I feel like some of the best requests that I've had fulfilled has definitely been from putting out like, believe it or not, yeah, perfume or wine or champagne. Usually that does the trick, right? But something as simple as flowers is really all you have to do. You don't have to go too crazy. Now, Jupiter, on the other hand, likes completely different things. Jupiter really likes grains, okay? So rice, wheat, lentils, these are things that are associated with offerings for Jupiter. He really likes yellow or golden fruits as well. So like bananas, pineapples, and mangoes. So if you could totally get Kitchen Witch with this. Like if you know that you're going to be hosting some people on Friday or Saturday, you could literally put out the fruit for Venus and for Jupiter, and you could make like a really great like fruit tray. But yellow fruits. He also likes spiritual texts, so philosophy, spirituality, wisdom. If you know you're having a group of people over, like put out some really great coffee table books that would spark some kind of conversation, get people to engage and like talk, you know, so that might be something that you can do to kind of enhance that. He also likes incense and candles. He likes golden candles usually, or yellow, and frankincense or myrrh is generally what I would burn for Jupiter. And he also likes educational items. So think like pens, books, you know, things that are kind of connected to learning. So by putting out, you know, philosophy books or other things that are going to be on kind of worldly cultural topics, you're set doing that. And he likes gold coins, yellow cloth, anything that's gold or yellow, because it represents wealth and expansiveness. But also any acts of charity, like generosity, making donations or performing acts of charity. So if you know that, you know, you have a ton of leftover food from an event, you could donate that, right? So you share with other people, and then you share with other people who really need it. But being generous with other people, donating time, services, and anything where maybe, you know, some of you guys might be like, hey, we're having a fundraiser. Like, what a great weekend to be doing something like that. And even if you're not doing it in person, I could definitely see a lot of like GoFundMe and other things that are going to take up this weekend that might get a lot of traction. Okay. All right. So let's talk this particular trine for the 12 rising signs. Like I said, I did cover this in my weekly horoscopes, but I know that not everybody has seen them. So I just want to give you guys like an extra dose of positivity. So we're going to start first with Aries and Aries rising. And just as a reminder, guys, I'm a Western astrologer. That is what I practice. I do not practice Vedic. So I'm going to be using the Western whole sign method to show you guys where this trine is happening. Special emphasis. I mean, everybody's going to benefit from this, but if you are a Taurus or a Libra rising, because Venus is making aspects to Jupiter, you guys are going to like this a lot. My Gemini risings, you guys are going to like this. My Aquariuses, you guys are going to like this. Especially if you have any placements in an air sign around 19, 20, 21 degrees. Could be an angle too. That's where you're going to see some of like the most sweetness that's going to kind of come through. So let's go ahead and start with our Aries and Aries risings. All right, guys. So you're going to be having Venus continue to travel through your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, romantic love, committed relationships, your marketplace. And it'll be forming a trine with Jupiter in your 3rd, and it's going to pick up a trine from the moon in the 11th house. All right. So on the topics of love for Aries and Aries rising, you may totally find love or deepen a relationship through communication. And also it could be learning or some kind of social activity. Your charm might be particularly effective in attracting intellectual or kind of like witty partners. And for your career, not too much is going on in the career department right now, but I will say that networking is very favorable. So if you're networking, it could lead to new opportunities, and your social skills may help with negotiations or collaborations with other people. I see opportunity for personal growth. I think that this is about, really growing through broadening your knowledge or engaging in discussions and expanding your worldview and bringing people in who are interested in what you have to say. And this could be on social media. This could be on the internet, online somewhere. And it's a great time to be socializing because you're either going to have the opportunity to kind of bring clients in, make new friends, or potentially meet a significant other. Good time for growth in relationships with neighbors, growth in relationships with siblings, and really opening the lines of communication with some of the most important people in your life. Okay? Good luck. All right, we've got Taurus and Taurus rising. I think you're going to like this, Taurus. You're going to be experiencing Venus, your chart ruler, going through Libra in your 6th house. She's going to trine Jupiter in your 2nd house, and we're going to pick up a trine from the moon. So it definitely makes this a little bit easier to navigate the Venus in the 6th house transit, where maybe pleasure has been like through habit and routine and health and wellness, but maybe you've been getting some help from somebody at the office. Maybe there's been improvements kind of in your day-to-day routines at work. I think in the love department for my Taurus and Taurus risings, relationships can become more adventurous. They can feel more intellectually stimulating, and it's possible that there is some kind of potential growth that can be happening in relationships. And I say this especially because, you know, your 7th house ruler is square the nodes or coming into a square with the nodes around this time. To me, this makes me feel like, well, you know, it's pushing you to go on a road trip, communicate, send letters, make phone calls, you know, kind of connect with other people and kind of take risks. And it is possible also that there can be like love in the workplace. There can be, you know, meeting somebody at the gym. But there can also be like new healthcare practitioners that can kind of come in and help you with health, fitness, diet, or routine, or new people at work that can be helping you with productivity as well. So it's not totally romantic for my Tauruses. It's more about money, finances, health, and work, to be honest with you, because it's your 2nd, 6th, and 10th house, which are traditionally earth houses. So I see opportunity for financial gains. It may come through communications or negotiations, and it can also be communication related fields or through partnerships of some kind. And in terms of your health, Venus going through the 6th house, you know, your health may benefit from positive thinking or engaging in activities that stimulate your mind. And it can also mean that you're making positive health changes to how you're eating, how you're moving your body, you know, how you're working and your productivity. Certainly, you know, Venus in the 6th house is saying, okay, I'm kind of slaving away. I'm definitely making some sacrifices. I'm having to work more with my coworkers or on my schedule. But that can produce more opportunities for financial growth. And to me, it looks like there can be some real good exposure that can be coming from you, maybe because you've hired somebody that's coming in to kind of help you get on track, or maybe there is some kind of positive change that's happening in your workspace. Okay, good luck, Taurus. We've got Gemini and Gemini rising. I think you guys are going to like this, obviously, because Venus is trining Jupiter in your 1st house. So I think you're going to be feeling extra jolly with this transit. And we've got Venus in a fellow air sign, trining Jupiter in your 5th, and we're going to pick up a trine from the moon in the 9th house. Wow. Venus in the 5th house can be a romantic transit anyway. You know, you're feeling like you're more kind of heart-centered, you're willing to put yourself out there, there's more focus on having fun and joy and kind of like really experiencing pleasure with other people. That can be kids, romantic partners, you know, creative collaborators, like what have you. But I think that your love life can really flourish with these connections, and there's a deepening of existing relationships with this aspect in your 5th house because you guys have shared interests that are kind of coming up now. I do anticipate there's opportunities for growth and communication. This can be bringing up themes revolving around creative writing, creative self-expression. It's also possible that, you know, you could see some expansion in terms of your exposure potentially from creative projects, especially if you're self-employed or if you work in like media. And the trine that you're getting from the moon can say that it's also connected to education. It's connected to travel. You could be more optimistic about the future of creative projects, having children, romantic partners, going on trips. You could be feeling more adventurous, you know, and you're excited about planning something. And just personally, I think you're going to feel very optimistic and that you're open to new experiences, especially involving learning or travel, with Jupiter really getting highlighted in your 1st house. Okay? Good luck. Great time to plan a vacation with some of these aspects, or go somewhere. If you're going to go somewhere on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, would be a really good time to do that if you can get away for the weekend. All right, we've got Cancer and Cancer rising. You will be experiencing Venus in Libra trine Jupiter in Gemini. So this trine is happening in your 4th, 8th, and 12th house. So it's both emotional and intellectual for you because this is going to be happening in like water houses. So I do feel like Venus going through your 4th house is really highlighting like love and support in regards to relationships, family, you know, decorating your home space, you know, maybe women in the family coming to stay with you, like that kind of stuff. Really blessing you when it comes to having a balance within kind of your work and your living situation. And with Venus coming into the trine with Jupiter, you know, I see this for you as being a little bit more emotional, or like I said, you know, it's about communicating and expressing your emotions. So relationships can become harmonious for sure, especially because, you know, the moon is involved here, but it looks like it's about like releasing and like letting things go and like setting things free with love, at least in my opinion. You may find that there is opportunity to make big shifts revolving around the way that you look at home and family and change within the home and family. Vulnerability opportunities are going to present themselves. There can be some like guardian angel with Jupiter in your 12th house where it's just like you really need something to change when it comes to money or when it comes to your family or your living situation. And Jupiter may actually provide some kind of support for you. Not seeing a lot of stuff going on in the relationship department per se. To me, it seems more about, having a better home and family dynamic and kind of feeling a little bit more mentally stimulated. Improvements or expansion in your home environment, possibly through decorating or hosting events. And definitely a spiritual shift for Cancer risings. I think this is a time where it's about spiritual or philosophical growth. And this could happen through meditation. It could happen through yoga. It could happen through, studying some kind of, metaphysical texts or watching, metaphysical videos, and picking up a book on kind of shifting the way that you look at change, right? I think that's probably what this would probably be best for. Good luck, Cancer. We have got Leo and Leo rising who will be experiencing Venus transit through Libra in the 3rd, trining Jupiter in the 11th, and the moon in the 7th. It's a nice transit. Your relationship life can definitely kind of peak up a little bit here because the moon is going through your 7th house. So it does deal with relationships, partnerships, and other people. And there can definitely be an increase in interactions that you're having with partnerships. Could be friends, but it could also be like clients or romantic partners. I see this as more playful. Like you might attract somebody who really admires your creativity and your intellect. This can also mean that you're meeting people through friends or friends are setting you up with people, or maybe you're going and hanging out with your friends, your partner's friends or vice versa, because of the aspects between the moon and Jupiter with the 7th and the 11th. And I do see this being positive for, creative writing, creative projects, maybe even teaching. And it's looking like there can definitely be like an expansion going on in your social circles with Jupiter in your 11th house where you're joining networks, meeting friends, doing things. This would be a wonderful time to be like, we're getting the gang together, let's plan a trip, or like, let's plan to get together, or let's invite everybody, to kind of like go on this like little mini road trip or vacation. But reaching out and kind of connecting and collaborating and bridging both your romantic relationships as well as kind of your social connections. And definitely gaining a lot of traction on the internet because Venus is in the 3rd. So you could be writing something, posting something that a lot of people see, other people are sharing, you're getting a lot of interest, so if you have like a client-based business or if you sell products, this is definitely a time where I think you're going to see a little bit more traction in these areas. All right, so we've got Virgo and Virgo rising. What's up, Virgo? So you'll experience Venus transiting Libra in your 2nd house of money, values, resources, trining that moon in Aquarius in the 6th and Jupiter in the 10th. Well, for my Virgo and Virgo risings, not a lot of relationship stuff, maybe some. It can be that there is announcements of significant changes in relationships going on because Jupiter does rule your 7th. But I think that this is going to be more about relationships benefiting from communication and having a deeper understanding and maybe working with someone through some health-related activities or through some work or job-related activities. It's more financial, health, and career-related as it's your 2nd, 6th, and 10th house that's being highlighted. So you're talking about these topics or thinking about these topics. It is possible that there can be some professional growth and that there can be a job change, or you're preparing to change jobs, or you're preparing to, move to a new office space, or maybe you are changing your schedule, right? The moon in your 6th house. And this could also be through networking, expanding your skill set, particularly in communication and analysis. I also feel like this can be a time where there are some significant shifts going on with your health and your organization and your routine. And maybe you're like, what? I'm going to invest in the gym membership, or I am, going to be buying the health food or whatever, and you're more optimistic about feeling on top of some of your health or kind of schedule goals. And focus on mental health could bring positive changes, perhaps through therapy or learning like a new technique to kind of manage stress. That can be something else that can happen that can be very beneficial. But Those of you guys who are unemployed, with Jupiter and Venus trine, I feel like this could be, you know, news that's like, hey, I'm actually, you know, I got laid off, but I got offered a higher paying job, or I've been applying for jobs and I haven't seen anything, and then something comes in. And it could be as early as Friday. It could be, you know, as late as maybe Monday, that you're seeing some of this energy change, and you could be getting ready to get back into the swing of working again if you haven't been working for a little while. So it can be more fortuitous for you guys with work and money than some of the other signs. Good luck. We've got Libra and Libra rising. You'll be experiencing Venus trine Jupiter and the moon in your 1st, 5th, and 9th house. I think you're going to like this, Libra, a lot, especially because Venus is your chart ruler. Venus is in your sign. It's all about your appearance, your beauty, you know, your personality, your charm, the positive changes maybe that have been kind of happening within yourself, and how this is really positively aspecting Jupiter in your 9th. So you may be feeling more optimistic about the future. You might feel more knowledgeable. You might feel more optimistic about traveling. It could also be that you're participating in some kind of higher education. Maybe you're wanting to take a class and you're learning something about, you know, 5th house could be hobbies. So if you're wanting to take an art class, a dance class, if you're wanting to learn more about marketing when it comes to a business, if you're wanting to get advice for investing, if you're wanting to learn more about beauty, right? That kind of stuff can be kind of coming up for you. Very strong for you. And could it bring in a new love interest? Well, Mars rules your 7th, so there is a square to the nodes. So if so, it's going to be somehow kind of connected to work or career. And, you know, current relationships can grow, but it's more like with a child, with a new boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, somebody who you're just kind of meeting. It's not so much the already committed relationships, although I think you'll be bringing a lot of attention and appreciation and praise in that is possible for existing ones. And, you know, with finances, financial gains can come through partnerships. That is possible through social networks, but it's likely going to be things revolving around getting, you know, insight on investing or gambling or trading of some kind with that moon going through the 5th house. You might meet a teacher or somebody who talks about that or discusses how to do some of those things because of the trine to Jupiter. But watch, because it's definitely very social for you, Libra. I feel like it's a great time for socializing. And it can also be a really good time for legal matters. So if you're a Libra rising and you're needing to file lawsuits, or if you're needing to seek a lawyer, or if you're needing to find somebody to kind of help you with a legal matter, this is a really good time where somebody can show up and they can give you the necessary assistance. Okay? Definitely also good for planning trips, by the way, Libra. All right, we've got Scorpio and Scorpio rising. You'll experience Venus in Libra in your 12th, trining the moon in Aquarius in your 4th, and Jupiter in Gemini in your 8th. So this is air trines and water houses. It's all about talking about our feelings, expressing ourselves differently, changes of the mind. And it can be a little bit more hidden for you guys, but it still will pack a bit of a punch. So for my Scorpio risings, you know, relationships are transforming right now. And a lot of that is because you've had Venus on the South Node in your 12th house. You are seeing this trine happening, and next month you're going to see a solar eclipse in Libra. So it's pretty safe to say that it doesn't matter if you're partnered or you're single. If you're a Scorpio rising, there's a lot of stuff that's getting kind of cleared out karmically with relationships. So the Venus connection to your 7th and being your 7th house ruler can kind of indicate that something is coming to a completion or something is coming to an end. And that can mean that it's about ending a relationship, but like letting it go and processing it and talking your way through it. It can mean that there is something that comes to you like in a dream and you're like learning to heal something. It can also mean with the trines to the moon in your 4th house that, you know, you're just feeling perhaps maybe like a little disconnected or disjointed when it comes to women that you live with or women in the family. So relationships will transform. And a lot of this is going to be through communication and how you think about relationships and kind of going a little bit more in depth in kind of evaluating how you feel about partnerships with other people. For career, you know, there is some opportunities that are on the rise, but not right now. Like your 10th house lord isn't really being activated at the moment. So it's not really about career, although, you know, you've got Jupiter in your 8th house and it is coming into a trine with Venus. So it can mean that you're working behind the scenes, especially if you're involved in like research or psychology or any kind of analysis work. You might be more busy than usual. And definitely a period of transformation, which I know is your favorite word, but personal growth through expanding your knowledge and engaging in transformative processes. And sometimes that can be about recognizing when it's time to let something go. And you have to talk about it or process it because this is happening in air signs. But, you know, watch out for those dreams of like ex-boyfriends and girlfriends. That can definitely be a theme here. And if you've been feeling a little in a bit of like a funk with dating or relationships, it'll probably clear once Venus leaves your 12th house. Okay? Good luck. We've got Sag and Sag rising. You will be experiencing Venus in Libra in your 11th house, trining Jupiter in Gemini in your 7th house, and also the moon in Aquarius in your 3rd. So my Saggies and my Pisces, you guys are going to like this because Venus, the goddess of love, is making an aspect to your chart ruler. So what does this mean? Well, we've got Venus hanging out in the 11th house where she wants to party, she wants to socialize, she wants to connect with friends, she wants to meet other people. And she is harmonizing with you in the 7th, Jupiter in the 7th. So friends might want to hang out. They want to get together with you. They want to see you. If you're single, they want to set you up with people. If they've got parties and events going on, they want you to be there. You know, they want to kind of connect with you. And I anticipate that you may either have to travel for some of this stuff or you're getting a lot of phone calls and emails and connection from people with that moon in your 3rd house being like, can you come? Or we're coming into town. We're going to visit. Relationship themes, communication relationships, communication with siblings. But I see it being a very positive transit for Sagittarius. I think it can also be a time where you're feeling like love is very adventurous and expansive. You could meet someone through travel or education, that's possible, and beneficial for travel, especially if it involves learning or meeting new people. Growth to your philosophical or spiritual beliefs through discussions and teaching or through conversations that you're having with other people. That can be a theme here as well. Okay? Go to the parties, meet people, get out, socialize, because it's a really strong time for those of you guys who are single for relationships. And those of you guys who are committed, you know, Saturn and Jupiter have been squaring. So obviously you've had your hands full with having to take care of home and family matters, or there's been some heaviness revolving around that, or just kind of feeling emotionally down. So going out and spending some time with people that you love the most, I think is going to be a really nice kind of pick me up. And you also might be one of the signs that would benefit from, you know, kind of getting out of town for a short weekend trip or something. I think you would really enjoy it. All right. And we've got Capricorn and Capricorn rising. What's up, Capricorn? You're going to be doing the Venus transit Libra in your 10th house of career. It is trining your 6th house Jupiter in Gemini transit and also the moon. So all of my earth trines, it's all like schedule, work, money, you know, unfortunately, but this is actually good for you guys because there are some changes that are happening in these departments. So for Capricorn, you know, really for me, kind of looking at the moon being the ruler of your 7th house, this can bring opportunities for relationships and for you. Yes, it can. There can be a sense of feeling more grounded or kind of connected or safe or secure in certain business relationships, partnerships, you know, getting confirmation, you know, of course I want to work with you. You're great. I value you. Or in relationships as well. That can be happening as well. You can bring clients in with this trine also. Anyway, so relationships can feel like they're expansive. There can be a sense of, you know, things kind of evolving, and it can be about introducing maybe partners to family or to people at work. That can be a theme with this trine. But I really think it's more about significant growth to your career, especially through networking and expanding your knowledge and your relationships with people out in the world. And obviously structure, right? Venus going through the 10th house is like improvements to your professional life, your reputation. And there can be this sense of really putting yourself out there and people really loving what you're doing, what you're creating, and getting a lot of attention. And that can actually provide you with like a lot of opportunity for bringing more money in with the trines to the moon in the 2nd house. People may want to partner with you. They might want to buy what you have. They might want to pay more. And Jupiter in the 6th house is like, you know, some of you guys are telling me it's just like never ending work, or you're working more than one job, or, you know, it's just like a crazy schedule. And some of you guys are also telling me that it's about new jobs, or it's about now having an assistant or having a bigger office. And so now you feel like, wow, okay, you know, things are growing. We are really being, you know, seen as like this new either state-of-the-art company or somebody who really knows what they're doing. And that can bring a sense of being more optimistic about, you know, your income or the money that you're making from like sales. So I like that. But also I could see, you know, putting more of an emphasis on health and what you're eating and your kind of habits, and that is going to be influenced by maybe changes with your eating habits, and then people seeing the results of all the hard work that you've been doing with Venus in your 10th house and getting that recognition for it. Good luck. We've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. You'll be experiencing Venus transit Libra in your 9th house, and it's trining Jupiter in your 5th. And also the moon. So I think you're going to like this transit. I think, well, what can I say about this? Moon on the ascendant trine Jupiter. Some of you guys could get pregnant under this transit. So if you're a woman, you're trying to get pregnant, if that's something you want to do, that's possible because you're seeing this trine between the 1st house, which is about changes of emotions and cycles, and the 5th house, which can be about fertility. This can also be a time where you're attracting unconventional or kind of like new intellectual stimulating partners. Friendships could evolve into relationships. You may also find that this is really great for like innovative projects or ideas, especially involving technology or social media. If you have your own business with Jupiter in the 5th house, you might be feeling really incentivized to start a new campaign or promote what you're working on. This is also a really good transit for planning travel because you've got Venus, which is luxury, in the 9th. So if you're like, you know what, I just need a fun getaway, or I want to plan a vacation for me and my partner, or like me and my kids, or I want to go and have fun with my kids, or even see my grandkids, this is a really good time with the moon on the ascendant to be like, we're going to do something different, you know, and you're just feeling like you want to go and kind of socialize and connect with people. This is also going to possibly bring an expansion to your social circle. And, you know, there may be more of a focus on, you know, some kind of like humanitarian or intellectual kind of connections. So if you're wanting to join groups that are associated with those kind of causes, that can come in as well. But I feel like this is really great for romance with the moon trine Jupiter and Venus. You know, some of you guys might have a long distance relationship going on, or you're traveling to go and meet somebody, or they're traveling to meet you. Can be also great for starting and taking new courses or lessons or workshops, or working with like a new teacher when it comes to creative writing, or anything revolving around media, or creating some kind of promotion for a like a creative business. That's the other way I could see that. Okay, that looks pretty fun for Aquarius and Aquarius rising. And then we have Pisces and Pisces rising. So we will be experiencing Venus transit Libra in your 8th. It's trining Jupiter in your 4th. And it's trining the moon in the 12th. Well, positive is that you're traditionally ruled by Jupiter. So having Venus kind of aspect your Jupiter is fortuitous. It may not necessarily have some of the major kind of events that some of the other signs will see. Like I said, for the water signs, it's more intellectual and it's about change. But Venus is about the mind, communication, travel. It can also be about unexpected conversation that you're having with, you know, family, romantic partners. It could be about addressing like intimacy related issues. It could be about receiving funding and support for expansion in your home or your living situation, or support from a partner. And the trine to the moon feels very reflective. So there is this sense of like, I'm reflecting on changes in my home, changes in my finances, changes in my relationships, you know. But still, the trine to Jupiter, I think, is particularly positive for you. It's hard not to think that some of these changes are coming for some Pisces and Pisces rising, because you're going to see this eclipse in your 1st house in September, and it's going to be in polarity to all the 7th house energy. So some of you guys are changing your relationships. Some of you guys are letting go of some staff. Some of you guys are deciding that you're wanting to change healthcare practitioners. Some of you guys are changing therapists. You know, you will see some of that stuff with the eclipse. So there can be this shift that happens when this transit happens where you're just kind of like, I know that something either needs to change or, you know, I need to make a relationship change or a shift with my home or with my family or with my finances. I do think that connections with Venus in the 8th house feel kind of intense and sometimes even a little taboo. But with the trine to Jupiter, it can be very emotional, and it can mean that there is some very kind of spiritual aspect kind of connected to some of your relationship things that are going on right now. And it can be about also like a focus on shared dreams or spiritual interests that can be coming up in your life. Now for spirituality, and I keep saying that because they're in water houses, spiritual growth or mystical pursuits through learning or teaching. And I think that that's because the moon's in the 12th. Trines to Jupiter can be about intuitive development, psychic development, you know, learning to be more empathic. And then that trine to Venus is saying that, you know, it's having you make some pretty significant shifts in terms of what you're opening yourself up to and what you're experiencing. And this could be a very imaginative transit for you guys as well. You know, there could be like this very creative flow that's kind of taking place, and you know, projects can flourish, especially those that involve communication, film, media, storytelling, anything like that, because you've got stuff that's kind of working in the water houses, and Venus can definitely be connected to art. But I feel like this is more about emotional release, and it'll be good for you because there will be this realization either through a conversation with family, relationship, someone where you're like, you know what, I don't want to just stay and kind of hold this inside anymore. And you're going to see this aspect 2 days before the eclipse happens. So something may come to a completion for you, or you might decide to end something or let something go. And because of some dream you have or some feeling you have, or maybe you get a reading and you're like, you know what, that is got to go. You know, this isn't working. And then boom, the eclipse comes in 2 days later, and that's going to kind of help solidify some of the decisions that you're making. And it will square Jupiter in your 4th. So it will impact your home, your family, or your living situation for sure. So heed some of those intuitive messages that you get from the cosmos. Well, I hope this is helpful for you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know now that you have this information. What are you planning on Friday and Saturday? Can you guys kind of help the gods out? Maybe somebody have a house party, bring people together, you know, have a block party, call up your friends, go out and do something, really enjoy yourself, because this is such a sweet aspect to be having right before this really big eclipse. I will be doing readings tomorrow. You guys can catch me here. Actually, we're going to be doing eclipse readings. So if you want to know what the lunar eclipse in Pisces is all about in your chart, you want me to read your chart, come hang out with me. I'll be here live on the channel at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. That time may fluctuate because we have been able to go early recently. So if we are able to do that, I'll let you guys know. So just kind of keep an eye on what we're putting on the community tab. I highly, highly recommend, if you want to get a reading, get in the queue early, because usually by the time we start doing the live readings, we stop taking readings because we have so many people. But yeah, hopefully you can join me. And if you guys haven't already caught the eclipse videos, make sure you check it out, or you listen to your September monthly horoscopes. Check out more of my work at beyondtheveiltarot.com. If you'd like to learn astrology, get an astrology calendar, or book a session with me, I'd love to talk to you. Enjoy this very sweet weekend. I can't wait to hear all about it. I bet there's gonna be a lot of like meet cutes and things going on. So you guys will have to keep me filled in. Come back and leave me comments in the comment section below. All right, guys, until next time, I'll see all of you very soon. Take care.